Let's do that again. Why not? It's Friday, right? On September 20th, Jenkins LTS 2.414.2 was released. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is all the changes in that release. My name is Darren Pope. I obviously don't know how to talk today. I'm a developer advocate for CloudBees. Mark, please help me.
Hey, Darren, it's great to hear you. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jenkins, the most recent long-term support release. Thanks very much for joining us. Darren, that was a great intro. I want more intros like that.
Just real and unvarnished.
Real, that's right. Getting real very fast.
Do you want to know the trick behind this? The trick right now is I've been sitting here recording for the past 2 hours, and my head is still in record mode and not live stream mode.
Right. See what you need is we need more exhaustion. In this life, we need to be exhausted much more frequently. What a great choice.
What a great day. So we've got a release, right? It's been 4 weeks. We got a .2, not too extreme. What's the Three Little Bears story? Not too hot, not too cold, right? Just right.
Right.
With some small twists, which we'll get into in a minute. But man, thanks for everybody for being here today. Mark, why don't you go into your little standard spiel for people that haven't been here before that may not understand what the whole Jenkins LTS thing is about?
You bet. So Jenkins releases a new version every week. It's a weekly release. But every 12 weeks, we choose a new baseline. That'll be the long-term support release. And that baseline then gets some initial backports and then becomes the .1. So 2.414.1 was released 4 weeks ago. After 4 weeks of using .1, we release a new 2.414.2. 4 more weeks, we do a .3. And each of those is a nice stable set of capabilities based on top of that original baseline that we chose.
And that's it. That's that simple. Mm-hmm. Until it's not.
Right. Well, until, like everything in this world, it's complicated.
It's complicated. Speaking of complications, let's go and take a look at the changelog for this release because, like we were saying, it's a little short, which is good. Mm-hmm. And it's what we would expect for a .2, thankfully.
It is. There's some. I think there's some cool stories hiding in even these 4 or 5 points. Right. That topmost one on the content security policy is one of those really cool things that Jenkins has been working towards and continues to work towards for a very long time. Content security policy is this really elegant safeguard to keep JavaScript from doing harm in your web browser. But some users discovered, there was an error in one of the configuration settings, and this corrects that error.
CSP is hard.
It is. Well, and web page security is surprisingly sophisticated, right? The things that our web browsers are more and more becoming miniature operating systems. And like many operating systems, there are threats that can come into that thing through all sorts of interesting vectors. Yeah.
By the way, at the time we were recording, I did something I probably shouldn't have done, and I had upgraded my browser right before we started running today.
See, living on the edge, Darren. That's what you do when you're living on the edge.
Living on the edge. But you just sort of gloss past the very first point of some important security fixes. You just sort of you just blew right past that.
We're going to get there because that's really the most compelling thing for me. I didn't want to leave this page before we get through the things on it, but you're absolutely right. Security advisory is really the most compelling part of this release.
Now, for people that haven't really looked at the logs before, you can see the colors going down the side and the sizes of the things, the legends at the top. So the CSP one was basically a major enhancement. Anytime we do CSP changes, it's an enhancement. Mm-hmm. But this next one is a major bug. The plain text console log will still be printed even if console annotations are corrupt. Now, I didn't dig into the issue on this. What's a console annotation?
Okay, so users, if I understand correctly, are allowed to add information to a console log. And it's possible for them to do damage to things while they're there. And therefore, corrupting that thing could disrupt user experience. And so what this does is fixes a problem.
Okay, So that's fixed. And then a couple of small bugs, new login page breaks. By the way, the new login page, have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I have.
Well, some other people may not have.
Uh-huh.
This actually came in, actually, because I'm logged in. Let me log out here real quick. That's the new login page.
Right.
So when we made these changes, it actually broke the login theme plugin, which allows you to do, does it allow you to do dark mode and the other things? Or is that separate?
It allows you to do theming of your login. So I think things like change that icon, that kind of stuff. Insert various interesting JavaScript. And hey, as a place to do customization, that's an interesting customization. Your company may want to show their logo here instead of the Jenkins logo, that kind of thing.
Okay. So anyway, that broke it. Now it's fixed.
Yep.
Okay. This last one, fixing invalid CSS, which caused some buttons to become invisible on hover. That happened to me on a credentials plugin, or a credentials, add credentials thing, and add went away. And it's like, what? Wait.
Exactly. And okay, when I after seeing the fix for this, I went back and looked. Oh, you know what? I failed to even detect it because my muscle memory was so fixated on hover over it and click. I failed to see that while making the move to hover, the button was no longer visible. It was still clickable. It was just no longer visible. So yeah, cascading style sheets are an interesting kind of thing. They really are.
So now we're ready to take a look at the security advisory.
Right. And this is the compelling reason why you should upgrade to 2.414.2, right? Multiple changes to core to improve its security.
And that's the key part to this. This is a core security advisory. And there's one plugin as well. We'll talk about that. But really, this is core. And fortunately, the biggest was a high.
Right. So they're not terrifying, right? This is not, oh, somebody's got remote code execution. But it's worth considering.
This top one, builds can be filtered by values of sensitive build variables. Now, a lot of words. I'm having problems with words right now. But here's what sort of got me. 250 through 423. I'm trying to do the math fast. Let's call it 350 releases.
Right, at one a week means that's only 6 years.
7 years.
7 years, okay. 7 years, bad at math, yeah. So that's a long time, exactly, yep.
So it gets here to the point to where you can, what was it, by specifying an expression that searches for build names, blah, blah. But anyway, this allows attackers with item read permission to obtain values of sensitive variables used in builds. That's bad. Right.
Well, it's bad, but think of the kind of thing you have to do to exploit this. You've got a list of builds on your screen, and you're going to now sit there and type into the prompt, into the search field, asking for various values, trying to find a match. And the thing you're trying to match is in fact a secret parameter whose value you may not be able to guess, because guessing secrets is usually not easy. So for me, this one is really, really, really a highlight of just how difficult security is. What a cool technique to have discovered and a cool thing to highlight.
Jenkins security team gets their props today because that one is very obscure.
Yes.
Whereas this one, the next one, not so much. That one's pretty straightforward.
Right.
Well, as much as it can be. Expandable details note. Now I learned a new phrasing today. Expandable details note. Or I guess yesterday when I saw it. Allows annotating and build log content, additional information, blah, blah, blah. Now, fortunately, that was pretty recent.
Correct. Right.
Compared to the other one, 350 weeks ago.
Right.
So cross-site scripting, okay. No big deal. Temporary file plugin. This one was interesting. Now, I would never get burned by this.
And why is that?
Why is that? It's because of the workaround.
Oh, right. Okay, so let's highlight the workaround first. I like that.
So as a workaround, you just set up your tempter. Like, don't use the system tempter. Because java.io.tempter uses the system tempter. So if you're on Linux, that's usually /tmp. And then it's some subdirectory of that. I never use that. I don't trust anything in TMP. Plus TMP can get wiped out at any point in time, and who knows if it matters. So I always set up my own tempter anytime I set up a controller. Always. Just because. In fact, okay, I'm more of a not Debian person. I'm more of a Fedora type person. So that lineage. So on Fedora, and I think this is true now in Debian as well, there's a var cache Jenkins. Right? So that always lives there. So inside of var cache Jenkins, I always create a tempter there. That's where my tempter goes, because var cache I consider to be wiped out at any point in time. Right?
Fair.
That's my standard operating procedure. Oh wait, we have a comment. I think we have to bring this one up. Vadik is here. Just know about the version range you mentioned. The default range is every version before. The first one was more specific because we were able to find the culprit. Fair enough. In case you don't know who Vadik is one of our security people.
Vadik is the Jenkins security officer. So
he is.
There's an authoritative voice. Thanks, Vadik. Thanks very much.
Okay. But let's go back into this. So Jenkins creates a temporary file when a plugin is deployed directly from a URL. Okay, fair enough. This created it with the default permissions for newly created files. If they're overly, meaning nobody ever does this, but they do chmod 777 on /temp.
Well, or
worse.
Okay, permissions. I think this is for the newly created file.
For the newly,
and therefore,
okay.
it's actually the UMask in the Unix world that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so, if you inadvertently use the wrong UMask, you could make this thing be a problem.
Anyway, it's now fixed, so you don't have to do my workaround, but I like defining my own tempter. That's just me. I've always liked that.
Well, and truthfully, not using a shared temp directory is a good thing, right? There are all sorts of problems that avoids. So it's a good idea to consider.
Okay, the next one was temporary uploaded file created with insecure permissions. Okay, again, tempter to the rescue.
Right.
Stored cross-site scripting vulnerability. Now we're into the plugin. This
Right.
one. So this plugin I am not familiar with.
Yeah.
I've not looked at this one before. I haven't
I've
either.
never
Okay.
used it. It's I've read its description, and by description, it's talking about helping people to identify the cause of build failures, and that's a cool thing. It sounds like, oh wow, something that will make the guesses that I already have to make when I'm reading build logs. So I like the idea.
Okay. So then there were 3 associated with that. Mediums all, I believe. No, 1 high and 2 mediums. So, but as far as a security advisory goes, pretty easy, I guess you want to call it easy. Not well, but it's in core, right? So there's not a lot of times to where there's a core security advisory or where core is included in the security advisory.
Correct. Right. We like that core is a very important piece of software, and the security team worries very much to be sure that it stays good and healthy.
Okay. So we've hit all of the items from the changelog. Yay. Done. Maybe I can talk through the rest of this. We actually have a couple of things that we want to talk about before we split today.
Okay, well, and double check the upgrade guide. I
thank you.
recall
The
that
upgrade.
there was anything new in the upgrade guide.
There was, actually.
Okay,
So let's take a look at the
talk to
upgrade guide. I'm glad you said that because I almost went fast there. There was one change, and it's back to the sign-in page update. Thank you for reminding me. So it's been fixed. So it's just a reminder you have to get the latest version of the login theme plugin.
Well, and that's a good, healthy thing to
Yes.
remind people of in general,
Anyway,
right?
yeah.
Before you do an LTS upgrade, it's good to upgrade your plugins, be sure they're current. Afterwards, check again to be sure that nothing came in that needed to be upgraded yet again. It's just healthy to keep your plugins up to date.
So step 0, back up your Jenkins home directory.
Yes.
Step 2, upgrade the plugins. Step 3, upgrade core. Step 4, upgrade plugins again.
Correct. Yep.
I need to do a t-shirt with that.
I'm not sure a T-shirt with a list on it is going to get you much traction, Darren.
Probably not. Okay, a couple of things. Jenkins is part of the Continuous Delivery Foundation. It is a project In fact, the first graduated project ever from the Continuous Delivery Foundation, CDF, just to make it easier. There is an end user survey that is open until when? Mark, do you remember when it's open until?
I don't.
They don't have an end date on this either. Since you're familiar with the CD Foundation, maybe we can get that added here. That would be helpful. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's an end user survey. So it's just which CI/CD technologies you're using, how many they use, what initiatives they're working on, anything. Right. This goes to the CD Foundation. This is not CloudBees. This is not Jenkins. This is CD Foundation.
Right.
Just so you know.
Good.
So end user council. The thing that you're going to be at next week, which you were just at last week, is DevOps World. Next week you're in Chicago.
Correct.
Are you having pizza?
Of course, it's Chicago. You don't go to Chicago without thinking about pizza.
So you're in Chicago next week. If people want to get there, they can still register at this point. Let's see, where is it? It's going to be, dismiss. It is going to be at this is actually cool. Museum of Science and Industry.
Right.
That'll be fun. $200 for the full conference pass, 1-day event. And did I cover everything? No, I didn't. Because I didn't have this open yet. Can you guess what I'm typing?
Oh, Hacktoberfest, of course. Very
Okay.
good.
Hacktoberfest. I had it on the list. I didn't. So at the time of recording, there's actually 4 days, 21 hours, and 13 minutes before it officially starts. It doesn't seem possible. 4 days until October.
No. So their count is
Their
either
math is
off
wrong.
or they're starting well before October 1st because it's only the 21st of September.
Oh, that's
right?
true. Yeah, it is.
But cool. We're happy to whenever there is. So Preptember is the right.
Well, we
month.
say it is, right? Well, yeah, we're. Never mind. We're doing time travel today. Anyway, Hacktoberfest. Jenkins is participating in Hacktoberfest again this year.
Right.
Big differences, changes from a Hacktoberfest perspective is they're not doing shirts anymore this year. Right? That's been a big deal for the past number of years. This year, though, they are doing a, what was it? They had an item here. I missed it.
Yeah. Digital.
Maybe it was on
they're
sign
doing
up.
digital rewards. You
Digital
get
rewards.
a badge. Correct.
Right. But they explained it. Maybe it was in participation. I don't remember where it was. Anyway, they went into how that is. And also, it's the 10th year.
Right. Congratulations to Hacktoberfest for 10 years. What an amazing program. Jenkins has benefited for many, many years from Hacktoberfest. We're really thrilled with what they do and how they do it. We want high quality contributions. We want people to submit well, and we're going to have some good fun during October.
Now, how will people stay up to date on what's going on with Hacktoberfest?
Well, so Jenkins.io has a Hacktoberfest page, and it shows a number of projects that are highlighted as Hacktoberfest. We'll also likely do a Jenkins online meetup to introduce the world to Hacktoberfest in Jenkins.
And we may be doing some other things too. It's not October 1st yet, so we can still make up our minds. Okay. We were talking about DevOps World. Now, one more thing that's happening with DevOps World is there's one October 18th and 19th out in Silicon Valley, Santa Clara area.
Right?
That's also when 2.414.3 is released. So normally we do our live stream here, which hopefully I can talk the next time, the day after the release, right? And we normally do that. But Mark, that's the 19th. Mark is going to be at that event.
Right.
So what's going to happen is we're going to be doing the catch up on .3 and talk more about what's coming in the next LTS a little bit more on the Tuesday after. And that Tuesday is I have it written down here, the 24th. So a little bit different next time, but it's just all because of Mark.
Hey, it is all about me. I like that. Thanks very
So
much.
let me ask you, since we have just a couple of minutes here, your talk, I know you're going to do more about it too, but can you give the overview of the talk that you're giving at these 3 DevOps World events?
Yeah, so the title is Business Benefits of Open Source Contribution, and it's really a focused look at how you can choose to make contributions to open source projects that have specific and measurable benefit to your business. It's really about how to make contributions that will help you not just do the charitable, nice thing of contributing to open source. Really, there are ways you can contribute to open source that will directly benefit your company.
And everybody should be doing that.
Exactly. I mean,
we'll just say it.
We want to benefit our employers, truthfully. The real thing is there's benefit to be had, and consciously chosen contributions can be real benefit to the employer.
Yep. Okay. I think that's it. Because I have to go back into I'm already in the studio, but I have to go back in and do more recording. So I stepped out to do the live thing. I'm not going to do this again. I won't do that to myself again.
I don't know. I think the variation was good for people to see that Darren is not always.
There's
always
a lot of
Darren.
things that happen in post that I edit a lot. You want to know how much stuff gets dropped on the floor? Let me tell you, a lot. You saw it today. Okay. So again, a little bit of delay for the next release from our perspective, from talking about it, but it's still showing to be on time on the whatever the date it was. What was the date again? I said it.
18th of October.
18th is the scheduled date. So
Yep.
nothing slipped there. But then, between now and then, is the next LTS line is going to be selected.
Right. New baseline will be chosen. Oh, and okay, now I've got to highlight. New baseline will be chosen, and we fully expect that the new baseline will include the removal of prototype.js. The new baseline will include the announcement of the end of life of Java 11. That's coming in October of 2024, a year from now. So the next baseline has some interesting things coming. So when we get to talking about it in November, we'll have some fun.
And we sort of hand waved and didn't even mention it. Java 21 is now LTS.
It is, and we're working good with it. We haven't announced official support yet, but we look pretty good. Bunch of tests are passing. We build regularly with it. Java 21 looks like a good step.
Doesn't seem possible. Oh, I remember the days. Remember 1.1?
I'm sorry, Darren. I'm not that old. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't call me on lying. That's not fair. Don't be saying things about me lying about my age. That's not acceptable.
I didn't say anything. But I do remember it. All right. Thanks everybody for being here with us live today. If you are here live, go ahead and even if you're not live, go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. Do the YouTube thing. And as Mark clears his throat, we'll talk to you again in 4.5 weeks. Let's call it that, because I can't do date math. Okay, it's one thing to do math live. It's a whole nother thing to do date math live. Mm-hmm. That's harder, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.